Start that up. Start the recording. We are recording. All right. I think we're just about there. And we are live. Excellent. Good stuff. Hey, folks. Welcome to the Geocaching Podcast. We're about to start up here. Lots of stuff to go over tonight. And special kudos to Sarah, aka Info Ferret. It is now 3:30 in the morning there now, Sarah?
Yep. Yes, it is.
And she's in France. So, and Scott's the one that's yawning. I'm just saying, it's going to be one of those shows. All right, folks. Let's see. We're all set. Sit back, relax, get your favorite libation. I know it'll wake them up. Sit back, relax, get your favorite libation, your favorite snack. Geocaching Podcast, whether you're alive or asleep or whatever, is going to be coming at you right about now.
You want to know how to find it. Seek it out when they hide it. You know it's in the bag when it's an easy grab. But come on, take a chance now. So go, geocache. If you need help, we're right there in a flash. If you got a question, just call in and ask. Uncover the stash. All the geocaching. The Geocaching Podcast.
Welcome to the Geocaching Podcast, episode 512, recorded live on September 27th, 2017. I'm your host, Headhardhat with
Scott Burks.
Wake up,
Taz 427 and
Info Ferret.
Oh, you can join our chat room and watch our live video stream, plus participate with us as we record this episode. All this and more can be found at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. Be sure to contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. Also find us on Twitter at geocachingpodcast.com/Twitter and Facebook at geocachingpodcast.com/Facebook. This episode is sponsored by our good patrons of the Geocaching Podcast. To become a contributing patron, simply click on our Patreon or PayPal logos on our webpage to help keep our podcast going. From all of us at the Geocaching Podcast, we thank you. So, yeah, we've got a lot of things going on. Scott's trying to stay awake. Sarah is really trying to stay awake because it's 3:30 in the morning in France, where she's at, and she was good enough to come and join us. I don't know if the rest of us would do that. That's early in the morning.
Dude, you're about 10 minutes away from me going to bed, so
I'm just saying.
I'll be asleep. I'm sorry.
This is the sleepover version of the show tonight.
So this is why Mark Dowding never comes on our show.
Yes, because staying awake like that is like, holy cow.
Right.
Well, no, I went to bed early and reckoned if the phone woke me, it woke me, and it did.
So you're up. So you already went to bed. You're awake. It's morning for you.
So one of those, you went to sleep too damn early, and now you woke up at 3 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep.
I have been there before. Most of the time, I'm going to bed about then, so I'm just saying.
No, I'm a lark.
My younger days.
Yes.
I'm a lark rather than a night owl, so it doesn't bother me.
See, there it goes. Let's see. I've been kind of on a short hiatus for the past couple weeks, so I didn't really get a lot of chance to go out geocaching. It's actually today we are getting the last. I could use a different word than breath from Hurricane Maria, but we're getting the last wisps of her as she passes by North Carolina. So it actually heated up towards the 90s again today, and then tomorrow it's in the 70s. So I'm hoping for that. That's my kind of weather. That's where I really like to go out and do some serious wood geocaching.
Yep.
But that's how it's going for me. Scott, how about you?
Has anyone seen the weather in Chicago lately? Has anyone been paying attention?
I haven't seen it.
I saw someone crying about it being 90. I don't know who that was.
Really?
We broke records here. I mean, late September, Chicago, it was 95, 93 for like 5 days. We broke every record.
Holy cow.
I guess the average record's like 71 in late September, and it was like 90, 95.
Wow.
Like my poor kids playing football in 95-degree heat on Saturday. My poor children.
Lots of Gatorade.
I mean, I was sweating just sitting there watching the game. Okay. And then the weather, like yesterday, like just as dinner time came, it just dropped to the 60s and just stayed there. Right now it's about, it was like 72 today was the high.
Oh yeah, that's what. So
this is fall weather. I mean, it was weird because it was 95 degrees, but the sun was going down at like 7. So it was, when it's that hot in Chicago, you see the sun going down at 9:30, not at like 7:15.
It's like somebody threw the switch.
Yeah, it's like the leaves are falling and it's 90 degrees. It's really weird. It was like things didn't add up. So it's nice to be back in the the lower 70s and nice crisp fall weather. I could finally have my my pumpkin spice and not be 90 degrees outside.
All the apples at the cider mills are going, what the heck?
Yeah. So unfortunately I had my kids, so I didn't get much caching done. I had an event, but that's about it. So this weekend. It's gonna be a nice weekend this weekend.
Sounds good. And Taz, looks like you've been busy.
Yeah, well, last week it was nice and only in the 80s. This week it's been in the 90s for the past few days. Got a couple more days of the 90s, and then we'll be back down in the 80s, which is nice and cool. But I participated in my 3rd Yolo County rally. So our team slipped in the standings this year compared to previous years, but we were still in the top 3rd of the 33 teams that were competing. So not too horrible. So there were around, I guess, 150 cachers or so at the event. So that's a lot of cachers at the event. We got 2 FTFs, 2 Earth caches, 2 Wherigos, 3 multi caches, 3 puzzles, a letterbox, a number of photo ops. So all the regular caches got turned into real caches as well. So those FTFs count as real FTFs. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, I had a great weekend. That was the 5th overall Yolo County rally, but my third time attending. So hopefully it keeps going. But the owners or the people that had been putting on the Yolo County challenge have moved out of the county to. So they're not going to be doing it anymore. So hopefully someone picks it up. I can't pick it up because it's an hour and a half away. Otherwise I would, I'd love to at least help out on it, but hopefully someone picks it up next year because that's a great event.
Is there a statewide geocaching association that does it for California?
I'm not sure if there's a statewide caching association. We have several associations that are local associations. Here we have the Sacramento River City Geocaching Association. But while they hold a few events, it's not really organizing a lot of these big events like this. So I don't know. Maybe we can get something going. So I'm going to talk to a few people and see if we can't keep this thing going.
That'd be cool. Big undertaking, especially when you've got that many cachers coming to it.
Yeah. And they always put out at least probably 30 brand new caches. A lot of them really cool caches. Of usually 6 or 7 different cache types out there. So like I said, we found some earth caches, some Wherigos, multi caches, field puzzles, traditionals. There's I found a letterbox as well. So yeah, that's 6 types right there.
Yeah, really. I think we just lost France.
You will never lose a France.
Where are you from? France.
Like she's actually sleeping, or we lost connection?
No, she dropped
I
off.
think she lost connection.
Well, she's bless her heart. So we'll see what happens with Sarah. I'm sure she's got if she can remember. I don't care what happens. If I'm waking up, I mean talking going fishing in the morning, getting up 3:30 in the morning.
I never get up at 3:30 in the morning for anything.
It's like
never.
Usually
I just don't go to bed. If it's 3:30, I just don't go to bed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Usually, I'm getting on a 6 a.m. flight if I'm waking up at 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, no, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Hello.
I mean, the red eye, but even then, it's like, Sarah, you with us?
Yeah, sorry, don't know what happened there. I just dropped
You
out and
nodded off
I've
onto
got
your
back in
phone,
again.
what it is.
Yeah. Anyway,
So how's things up in France?
nice, hot, clear sky. You can see the stars. Short weather. No, I've had an interesting couple of weeks. It's been. Went out with a friend a week ago Sunday, and we hit around back blocks of the Rapper and found about 40 caches. Didn't have an encounter with a security guard or LEO or anything like that. But there was one said, "Oh, go down this road. There's one just down this track," and narrow track, off. And we got to a stage where we found that there'd been a slight landslip in a tree across the track. And I had to revert. I hate reversing at the best of times. Town car, not a town road, reversing uphill, round a curve, nowhere to turn around without getting the car stuck for probably was only about 150 meters, but it felt like about 4 miles.
Wow.
And this week we've been up to, I've been a real stress bunny because there was a problem with the main fuel supply to Auckland Airport. A digger damaged the only way the fuel gets to the aircraft. So flights were being cancelled left, right, and centre, and fuel was being limited to the amount that they'd supply to planes. So instead of going Auckland, KL, London, nice quick 2-hour changeovers, they were setting the planes off from Auckland to Aussie with just enough fuel to get them over there, siphoning some more into the tanks and then taking them on to wherever else they needed to go.
So you're flying from one continent to the next just to get some more gas.
Yeah, just to siphon a bit more into the tank. So, of course, I missed the connection. It wasn't a problem. I was booked on the next one, but 11-hour layover in KL. So I braved immigration, went and found a cache by the airport. Oh God, it was, as my son put it was like he'd imagined walking through a sauna. And that was at 10 a.m. So
do you get a Malaysian souvenir for getting a cache there in Kuala Lumpur?
If there's a country souvenir, yeah, I've not really had time to check. I mean, I'm caching purely off my phone at the moment rather than off my computer. And I'm with the rest of the family, are all muggles, so the amount of actual numbers is crap. But okay. I did manage to pick up the one in Nice Airport yesterday.
Wow, in Malaysia, I mean, besides the humidity, there's only about it can't be much worse than Australia, where everything there wants to kill you. And in Malaysia, I've always imagined kind of the same thing: mosquitoes the size of eagles, and bad-tempered snakes and all the rest of it.
Well, there wasn't anything I noticed within sort of 200 meters of the airport, but it was. It was a sort of, I had 11 hours and I was so glad to get back into the air-conditioned airport afterwards and have it and find a shower and calm down.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
And cool down and get back to normal. But yeah, I'm almost over jet lag now.
Very nice.
And we're going around the south of France, bit of a nostalgia trip for my parents. Poor teenage lad. He's getting so much history and information rammed down his throat. Well, but anyway, we went over to York a couple of days ago. We went over to York in the north of England, which is very old city. And in some of the inscriptions and plaques, where they put 71, that's not because they've forgotten the first two numbers.
That's the original date.
Yeah. Well, the Romans turned up there in 71 AD. Yeah,
I can't imagine it being something that old.
Yeah, as I say, for me, it's an unashamed nostalgia trip.
Oh yeah. See, for Americans, let's face it, we've got 241 years or so worth of things you find. Most gravestones, and I'm in the southeast part of the country, so I'm in one of the older sections. You may see something from 1700s if you look hard enough, and that's about it.
Compared to New Zealand, where most of the immigrants, the Pākehā settlers, only really count anything from 1840 onwards. Yeah. So there's Maori history and artifacts and things from about 1200. It depends on who on what the archaeologists say.
Right.
But most Maori history is oral.
Wow. And
so so there's wood carvings and the odd thing that's been passed down, and stories and legends, but there's nothing. But there's, I think, one of the oldest buildings that I can think of in New Zealand. They're only about 1840s-ish at the Kerry Stone store.
Right.
So there's not a huge, So it's, as I say, the poor little soul is getting history rammed down his gullet.
That's good stuff. That's stuff you remember, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, there's enough photographs, and apologies to those who, which I'm keeping inflicting on the rest of the family on a regular basis.
All right. Well, we'll look forward to. You've been sending a lot of pictures in that too on Facebook, so we'll be interested next week with the rest of your trip that you have. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move on to the podcast roundup, letting your viewers know what's going on in the geocaching podcasting community, what's coming up this week on Geo Gearheads, and big congratulations to Daryl W4 and Chris of the Northwest. It is their 300th episode, and it's randomized. What is LXI?
61.
Holy cow.
God, I must be tired. You beat me to it.
Episode 300. Congratulations, Geo Gearheads, for everything that you guys have been doing. It's awesome. And this week with the randomized show, Land Monkey joins Chris and Daryl to take on a pile of feed.
Wasn't he just on the show like last week?
Yeah, I know. He's kind of like Gopher. Not as bad as you.
Oh my God, not Gopher, Charo. He did it every time. Gopher was a member of the show.
Yes, he was. He did. At the end, he started. Never mind. That was Julie that showed up every once in a while. But that's a whole different thing. And not that I had a crush on her or anything. I'm just saying.
Yeah. What does she look like now?
I wouldn't even want to know. I wouldn't want to know.
What was her real name? Like something. What was her real name?
I can't remember.
Taz, come on! I know you know. You're the quickest one to Google. What's her name?
I have no idea.
Is it McKean or something like that?
Yeah, something like that.
McKean.
No, that was Gavin McLeod. No, that was
she was a McKean too.
That was
Lauren Tews.
There you
what?
Go.
Tews?
Tewes.
Yes.
Really? That was her name?
Captain Steuben was.
She played Julie McCoy.
Yes.
Oh, that's what McCoy. That was okay.
Yeah,
that's where I'm getting that from.
Just saying, memories.
She got to be like 60s now. She alive, Taz?
Yes, she's still alive.
She got to be in like her 60s.
Oh, at least.
God,
you sound just like a sweet little thing back then.
I know.
You guys sound like a BuzzFeed article.
Like the director cruise.
This is what we had left.
Oh, there you go. Wait, Chad's got a picture of her.
Hang on. Let me, there it is.
She developed a cocaine addiction where? When?
1984. All the fun things you learn about.
Oh, I didn't want to see that.
All right.
Okay. So
it's
killed.
Like
she is turned into
an old woman.
Presidential participant.
Oh. Thank you for ruining that for me, Taz.
Wow. Here's this sweet picture of her when she was in the 80s and then wham.
And just whop. Welcome to your 60s.
Oh.
I'm so glad I'm doing this on audio and not.
I am life hitting you back.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's move on to it now. I take no knowledge whatsoever. Scott said, Andy, I sent you a soundbite. And I have no idea what it says.
For the mail.
But it's in here. It's in the sound card, and I'm going to play it. So whatever happens, FCC, it's Scott's fault. All right, here we go.
I got mail! Yay!
That's our soundbite.
Why was it so low? Play it again.
Huh? Play it again?
I got mail!
There you go.
Yay! I got mail! Yay!
Yay!
Okay, we want to thank Scott for sending the soundbite, the new and improved soundbite
Yay.
for the GCPC mailbag. And of course, you can write into the GCPC mailbag
To hear that,
all
to hear
hate mail
that
to
lovely
Scott Burks.
at gmail.com. Send us your stuff. So go ahead, Scott.
Okay. This is from Larry, and he says, "I have just finished watching this week's show." People actually watch this show?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Andy, do you know the difference between watch and listen? Do you have any
Yes,
idea?
watch his video and listen is.
Well, I got mail. No, I mean, like, what's the difference in people? What's people watching compared to people actually listening? Do you have any idea what that is?
They actually do at work.
Watching is what you have. A watch is what you have on your wrist.
Is that what
Do
that
people
is?
watch? Andy, do people watch more or listen more?
Listen much more.
Okay.
Yes, we have
Just
a
out
very, very large audience actually who listens to
Really?
the podcast.
And this is actually a thing, because when we do video stuff, I explain to them what's on the screen, because most listen like I do. I listen at
Yes,
work.
exactly.
Not to this show, but to other shows. I
Exactly.
don't have to listen to this show.
Or
I
my
live, I
show,
live
or-
this show.
The other shows that Scott doesn't want to listen to, but that's all right.
I've just finished watching this week's show, and as usual, it was awesome. I have an idea for one of your future topics. See, I love when people do this. There you go. How to best handle a air quote rogue geocacher, especially when they are a premium member.
Oh, that's
Larry. And this is the topic for tonight's episodes,
good.
kids.
Absolutely. So we're going to move on with that. We're going to go into the news with a slightly different frame of.
Wait, hold on. I just got it on my lovely Apple Watch right here.
Yes?
That the Cubs have just won the National League title. So
No way.
yeah, they are
Is this
actually in the
same
playoffs.
Cubs that had a 108-year streak that.
Yeah,
was saying-
that won the World Series last year, and now they are back in the playoffs. Yes.
Oh God, we got to go through this again. So Scott Burks is going to be gone for half this postseason. I'm just saying. We're just going to win.
Sorry,
All right.
continue.
As you're ready, I'm going to push this
Sure.
other button over here. Let's see, which one is it? Oh yeah, this one.
Mine was so much better for the record.
Yeah, no. So, learn something new on International Earth Cache Day. On Sunday, October 8th, earn a new souvenir by learning all about the Earth. All you have to do is go out and find an Earth cache on International Earth Cache Day 2017.
Not as easy as it sounded, because I think the closest Earth cache to me is like 80 miles. There's no close ones to me here.
I've been selective on the local Earth caches here. I've been finding Earth caches that are good distances away from me. So that way, on International Earth Cache Day, if I can say it correctly,
for you, sir.
I'll be able to circle back and grab one of those, since it comes around once a year.
Yep.
So, and then also in the news, the 2017 GIF finalist, GIFF, Geocaching
Jeff.
GIF.
Jeff.
Geocaching
graphics people
International
out there.
Film Festival finalists are, blah, 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 drum roll please. Well,
Yes.
go out on between November 2nd through November 6th of 2017 to a GIF event, and you'll find
GIF.
out
Find out what?
who the finalists are. 17 films.
And you could also use the link that we'll
17?
have in our show notes underneath, where it says, and the 2017 GIF finalists are, and check it out yourself.
How many like not finalists do they have? How many like submissions do they get?
I don't know, quite a few.
They
but
get quite a
got
few.
Just how much crap there is, probably.
you know,
Just a guy in like the woods going, "I got mail," something like that. Like just really bad videos.
And that's why they limit the time that you can have on them.
yes. Did you ever
okay.
see when they have the opening auditions back for name the popular show that was on all the time with Seacrest? Yeah, that
it was
one.
on Fox. Come on.
Yeah.
Idol.
Yeah, Idol, American Idol. They filled stadiums with people that said, "I've got a voice," so that they could pull out the 4
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And then
kinda like
put the crap on for 3 weeks.
yes,
So we
exactly.
could point and laugh at
that's
them.
the better
Yes.
crap. That's not the stuff that
Well,
never made it out of the
So
oven.
how come the GIF event doesn't give us the crap first?
And that's the most entertaining part of America's Got
Right, the
Talent.
crap.
Yes.
It was like if it wasn't for the crap on there, we probably wouldn't watch the show.
It was so bad, I loved it. I'm just saying.
Well, I think the people who've gone to the trouble of putting stuff in, if they don't get it accepted, just stick it on either YouTube or stick it on whatever social media they use. So they are around if you want to go look for them.
I think they should put all of the ones on there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How many thousands of hours?
You think they get thousands of hours? Do you really think they get thousands of hours?
If you put in some commercials, I'm sure. It could use
I'm sure they get a painful amount.
and somebody's got to go through it.
Someone's got to watch all that crap
You
too.
know, some interns in the back corner with
Like,
these
oh
shots.
man, I've been watching these for 3 days straight. Just crap, just nerds in the forest. I can't watch it anymore.
You know, you were saying how your nearest Earth cache is miles away.
Yes.
Well, when I'm back in Wellington, there's one that's about 3 miles away. Well, there's one that's about 1 mile away from where I work. But
bragging.
unfortunately, it's a 5.5, so it's not going to be got anytime soon.
Yeah. So it's interesting.
It's on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Because I've got to go over to South Island and do some stuff, and then do some stuff in Wellington and answer and write a 5,000-word essay on something or other. Do it.
Yeah.
So is it a legitimate 5.5?
Yeah, I guess so. It involves going
It's in
to
New Zealand. What's
obscure
the
location.
worst that can happen? You got to knock.
Are you going to have to?
Yeah, climb a hill.
Are you going to? Are you just climbing a hill or a very steep hill, or do you need some
On the
other
Nelson.
equipment?
You need other equipment. On the Nelson side of it, on the South Island side, you've got to get a sand sample from a certain location,
Holy cow!
which is underwater at times.
Oh, wow,
Um,
that's a ARL.
And yeah,
ALR.
and it's an old one. It's probably wouldn't get through now, but hey, it's there. But what I will do is I'm planning to drive up from where my parents live up to Edinburgh, and because there's an Earth Cache event and an event there in Edinburgh around the Castle Rock. There are more Earth Caches than you can shake a stick at.
Wow.
There's probably about a good half dozen. So I'll hopefully get to the event and pick up a couple there and see what we can find.
Sarah, 2 Wombies in the chat room says, I think the one that Sarah's talking about means you have to visit various beaches around New Zealand on different islands and compare sands and stuff like that, etc.
Wow.
Yep, that's the one. And this is not a swan round in your bikini with your sun lounger.
What the heck's a sun lounger?
That's a chair
Is that a chair?
that you
A
want.
floaty chair?
A floaty?
Could be.
Oh, God. No, the sort of thing that you see by the pools in hotels, usually with Germans having put.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
out on-
sure,
Yeah,
okay.
the big ones.
Okay.
The ones that the kids try to sit next to me to stay in the shade. Those.
A lounger. I like that's way better. I like that better than a chair. A lounger. I like that.
More relaxing.
I know, totally. That is what it is. I like that.
Mhm.
Very much.
What do we call it? We call it a chair, right? Am I right?
A lounge chair.
Lounge chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like a lounger better.
For me,
I'm gonna call them loungers from now on.
Wow.
sit in the lounge watching TV.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Not at the hotels I stay at. Most of them have,
They don't have a.
pool's half full. It's green with things.
Andy's
swimming
lucky he gets a
around.
breakfast.
Exactly. And that's usually like leftovers from last week's tables. I'm just saying. All right, let's move on to
The crocodile and the alligator sitting in the
exactly.
floating in the pool is not the inflatable variety.
That is an inflatable.
You can make the
Just don't
things where you flip it. The not the pancakes, the waffles. You flip the waffle thing. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Those are great. The ones that you put 2 cups worth of stuff.
You
That
got it.
with
Yeah,
quarter
and you
cup,
flip it. Yeah, man.
and it all kind of spills over the side. You sit
Gotta
there
love
looking like an
the
idiot while
hotels that
everybody
do
looks
that
at you
stuff.
As it turns into black smoke.
Yes. Got
I
better
love
than a
those
hotel
ones.
breakfast. Yes. Now I'm hungry for a hotel breakfast.
Made custom. Just
Thank
dream.
you.
Well, yesterday we introduced Alan to the delights of a French hotel breakfast. Chocolate croissant.
Croissant.
See, that just sounds better. To us, it's toast, but you know.
Toast is completely different.
No, listen.
Different sort of pastry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. We'll move on to episode 512, how to handle a rogue geocacher. And as said earlier in the show with Larry, he said, I've finished watching the show. How is it best to handle a rogue geocacher? And I can't.
Andy, for the record, Larry is in the chat room, so if you have any questions
excellent.
for him, we can talk to him.
Welcome. Especially when they're a
Thanks
premium
for the idea,
member.
Larry.
Yes, excellent idea. I recently encountered a new geocacher with hardly any fines that is a premium member. They logged a couple of my caches with language that was very inappropriate.
Like curse words or just like
descriptive words? I'm not sure, but it was inappropriate. I'm just saying. I realized they were new cachers and sent them a private message asking very nicely to please be careful with the language while writing the logs.
Fair enough. There you go.
As other cachers read them, and sometimes children or young people may read them as well.
Perfect.
I was then responded to with a rage of inappropriate accusations in bad language.
Well, that's what you
winner.
get.
Mm-hmm.
He said in the term, even their name was inappropriate. Oh, okay.
Oh, jeez. Okay,
Hey,
so
Larry, give us the name. Come on, you don't just say that and not give the name. I've seen the best name I ever saw was Fuck Gumby. It was I don't know how it got through. Fuck Gumby was the name. It was the greatest name I ever saw. Geocaching ever. I'm like, how did that get through? But that's amazing.
wow.
Yep. Sorry about that. I guess I was dropping
that was good. I like that.
But it was a name, so it's allowed.
It's a name. Yes.
Wait, hold on.
Well, you know when they name racehorses, and so the racing board decides to try and decide whether or not a racehorse name is allowed, they get people to shout them across the office to see how they'd sound with a commentator.
Well, the name that Larry said.
Here it comes, humping around the corner.
Here comes Fuck Gummy down the road. Here comes Fuck Gummy coming. Okay, the guy. He says the cash.
Well, this racehorse was Shy, Tall, Knight.
Let's not say what the name was because
okay. So if you're in the chat room, you get to.
But let's just say it has something to do with.
But do you say it's a family show? I just dropped 4 F-bombs, and you're saying it's a family show.
Yeah, we're cleaned up. We're
Bugger,
fine.
we can't say the name.
Yes, we can't say the name.
But if you're in the chat room, you can see the name. But other
you
than
can see the name if you're in
it's
the chat
inappropriate.
room.
Let's put it that way. It's not as good as the F
inappropriate
one. So.
But it does make you realize why this person wrote the way that they did.
Yes, makes a lot more sense.
Yes.
My guess it was a teen kid or something like that.
Or something. And then that just draws a whole set of questions. I immediately realized where this was going and responded with, this conversation is ended. I then removed their logs on my caches. Within a couple of days, I was getting log messages from other cachers stating that some of my caches had been destroyed. Okay, so this is where things get ugly.
Okay, so this is so you deleted logs, if I'm understanding correctly.
Yeah,
I think that's where the problem arose. Can you delete? I guess you can delete a log for
if it's inappropriate.
If it's inappropriate, yeah.
Yes,
and I would.
And I'm assuming he asked him. I'm assuming that Larry asked him to
change it,
word it correctly. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people do that all the time.
Yeah. He goes on to say, although I am sure it was this rogue cacher, I could not prove it. This has since stopped. And I've checked this person's profile and noticed that they've never logged any more fines. I assume they felt that geocaching was not for them. I'm sure this does not happen often, but I am curious on how you folks think this type of thing should be handled.
Well, I'll say right off the bat, I think you did an excellent job handling it. Unfortunately, it's a situation where you got a-hole cacher that no matter what you did, you were screwed. I mean, you just luck of the draw.
Yeah, and I also think I'd be shocked if he keeps on caching. Judging by that, I mean, you say he's a premium cacher, but he probably didn't even know it's free. He probably just signed up because you sign up and you pay the money.
Yeah.
I'd be shocked. We'll see if what's the percentage of cachers that find 20 and that's it. So
you'd be surprised.
Yeah,
You want to know the exact stats? I was told it by a flunky from HQ. They do not. They count a geocacher for I think it's up to a year. 3 fines. The majority of them, 3 fines or less is the average.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was me up until June. I had like 3 fines.
Yeah, and you had a slow year.
So well, he says he noticed that they still haven't found any more caches since then.
Right.
Yeah.
It very well could be that he probably took it off his phone and put Pokemon on, and then went off that way, and went on with the next latest fad, which is good riddance to bad blood. As far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, maybe if you want, you could send a note to Ground Zero just saying, "Hey, heads up, this guy did this," with the name, so they have the name on record. But if you're saying he's not even finding anymore, it's probably, I mean, I've had must-watch situations. I got 2 whammies in the chat room. He says there's one here in Christchurch, my favorite town, Christchurch. Someone steals caches and leaves notes saying, "You have been muggled by smelly toes." A few of us are suspicious of who it could be, but we can't prove it. They have provided a list of cachers who they will steal the caches from.
Wow, that's
smelly
organized.
Toes.
That is organized. Can you just imagine the calling card? Smelly toes. I'm just saying. Oh my God, the infamous smelly toes.
Crikey, what should we call ourselves? Smelly toes.
Well, at least right now we don't have any known major destructors out there. I mean, in the past we've had people that like to destroy very nice caches and post pictures of them on Pinterest. Yeah, and so that comes in cycles every once in a while, and I'm glad we don't have one going on.
So that raises its ugly head somewhere.
Yeah, there was a couple of guys on like Instagram that were doing it. I can't remember what the hell their name was. But I followed them just because it was like watching it was ridiculous.
Something like We Smash Caches or something like that. Geo Smashers.
Something like that. Yeah, that sounds
Geo Smashers. Why? What's the bone? I said bone that they get. I'm just saying. Okay, that deserved it. That makes them want to do this. Is it fame? Is it popularity? Is it something that they're able to put out and say, look, this is what we're doing, manners? I mean,
yeah, it's high school kids effing around is what it is. My guess.
That's what I said.
Because for the record, I totally would have done that in high school. So I can totally see it.
They're probably upset because they couldn't find any porn in it.
There you go. Great big ammo cans, no porn.
No porn.
There's other things I have found in ammo cans that go that way, but that's a whole different subject.
Never mind.
I was going to say, you get the people that every once in a while you'll get the ones, and I don't think it's just the kids. You get the ones that sit there and say, geocaches are nothing more than geotrash, and go with that thing. So because they're geotrash, they go out, beat the stuffing out of geocaches, and leave it, which I never got the logic.
Generating the trash.
Yes, exactly. It's like, what? I can see them saying, okay, I will take them away, which you do get those every once in a while too. But I will beat it, throw the trash all over the place, take a picture of it, and then complain that there's trash. I don't get that. That's...
Well, the other thing, I suppose if they're posting it, you can at least have a go at tracking back who the culprits are.
I think,
but you can never be totally 100% sure. It's even if unless somebody saw them do it, there's no way to prove it, unfortunately.
Yeah, and as long as we have people, we're going to have anarchists.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
We had a geocacher apparently in Wellington a couple of years before I started caching, who did, and I've talked to a few people who've been in that game for a while and knew him, but he did things like have more sock puppet accounts than you care to mention, and find good friend, whatever, was the first was the first to find addict, had been known to take other people's caches and repurpose them for his own ones elsewhere. But the last straw that eventually got him banned and his account locked, and we're talking with a guy with about 9,000-ish finds, was he nicked a puzzle sheet, a solved puzzle sheet from somebody else. And with that, they were able to get enough evidence to get Groundspeak to lock his account.
Because he stole something, then that was enough for him to get something.
Yeah. It was just the thing that tipped it over the edge and the one thing they could prove.
Wow.
Yeah, because the sock puppet counts, it's kind of hard to prove. Although just about every geocaching area has at least one sock puppeter.
Sure.
So I'm sure Chicago has a few. I'm sure you guys out in Carolinas have a few. We had a few in Houston. We got a few out here. I knew who most of the ones were in our area, or highly suspected.
And it's like, if they go through all this extra work just to do things, where is that worth it? I mean, to go up, make the extra accounts, use it. I mean, it's instead of just either leave it alone or play the game.
Right.
And it's like, why? What do you get from it? I wish Amy was here. At least she has a degree in psychology. She could tell me something about it. But it's like, what the hey?
I suppose it's a version of what get the numbers up.
Yeah, something.
I
guess.
Get your first, had your first find count.
A lot of the different geocachers that I've heard over the years, where something's ticked them off, and sometimes it could be the littlest things, like a deleted log. That might be major to somebody, especially if it's something that counts and it goes like that, and they get upset over things like that. I'm not justifying, but I'm just saying, but just not getting their way because a reviewer didn't agree with something that they wanted to put for a hide, or and it's a lot of times it's legitimate reasons. It's just, well, I want it here, and they don't get it, and then they get all this ticked off about stuff. Fortunately, at least from what I see, it's not a rampant thing. And I guess the term rogue really does kind of leave that a little more appropriate to the way that Larry put it, because you don't see it every day.
No. And, I've really only seen one kind of personally where I observed it and blew the whistle, and it was an armchair logger on the ape cache in Brazil, because I follow that ape cache, and it just happened to, I saw this cacher on there, and it's like, and I kind of sometimes look at the profiles, and it's like, okay, he has 20 finds. Okay, this is his first. This is his first day finding. He has cache finds in just about every continent. Oh, they're all the high favorited cache. What the hell is this guy doing? And I let Intervales, which is Junior down there, who watches the ape cache, know, because he's the owner. He took over the ownership of the cache after Joe GPS passed away. Know that, hey, you got an armchair logger here. I don't know what you want to do about it. I would send them a message and let them know that, you really need to find it. I actually wound up sending the guy a message before asking him, what the deal is. And he tried to play it off like, oh, he's been caching for years, but he lost his account information and can't get back in. There. It's like, you got an email address, right? Yeah. It's like, you recover your friggin' your account. I'm calling bullshit on this. Pardon me. But eventually it got back to Groundspeak, and Groundspeak axed his account.
Yeah. You know what this makes Chad, don't you? He's a troll.
He's a police. He's the geocaching police. Look at him,
geocaching narc.
God. Yeah, we got a couple here. If anybody ever listens to the Chicago Geocacher podcast, you know exactly the people I'm talking about. I'm not going to name names here, but they actually finally, and I used to give them a hard time all the time, and they used to give me a hard time, and they finally got Groundspeak finally banned them. I mean, finally,
Yeah.
like they are banned. That they'd be like banned for like a couple of months, and then they come back and banned for a couple of months, and finally they're like, no, you're done. And like they killed they even killed sock puppets, like sock puppet accounts we knew they had. They even killed those too. It's like,
Wow.
yeah. And then what happened is all of a sudden after they got banned forever, all our caches started going missing.
Oh, don't you love that?
Yeah,
Little
all the
kickback.
caches around. Just I'd replace it and it'd be gone the next day. You know, it's like, yep.
Well, this guy was from France, so I'm pretty sure he wasn't flying over to find my cache. If he's not really going anywhere to find caches in the first place, I don't think he's going out and destroying people's caches over this.
So I mean, it happens. That's Larry. It happens. I mean, it is. You know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't sweat over it, but unfortunately, that's just the way it works. When you.
Yeah. And when it comes to so let's nail it down to Larry's thing here. You've got a geocacher who is a gold member. He or she. What would you do for this particular person? Is there anything that you can do to either sway or, you know, is there anything that you can do for a person that ends up being a member of geocaching, and now what?
Yeah, I mean, I think he did what he could do, and you know, I've done it with cachers who have not found. I know they haven't found my cache. You know, they even kind of said they didn't find the cache, but they're logging it as a find because my cache was missing, and it's like, no, we don't play the game that way.
Yeah.
You know, and they're usually do, and I explain it to them. It's like, that's a red herring, blah, blah, blah. You know, you come back after you get some experience, but, you know, here's a bunch of caches. You know, I've got a list of caches. Here's a bunch of caches that you might want to go check out that aren't too far by that, and you'll get a more comfort level as to what different types of geocaches are out there. You know, I try to help them out. You know,
educate first.
Educate first, but you know, there's some people that just aren't going to take it, and there's nothing you can do about them.
No, I agree. Yeah,
I suppose also it's that we're a digital community rather. You know, the road caches are the ones you probably won't. The newbies, especially the ones you won't meet in the event, say, "Hey, come out with me for an afternoon, and I'll show you how to find it." Few of them.
Yeah, very good point.
Yeah.
Very good point.
I mean, I learned a hell of a lot from a couple of cases I went caching with for a while. Just sheer how the heck did you think to look that way?
Right. And that was one of the things after when I first got in there, and I was corresponding with an individual over a puzzle cache. I think I had like 10 finds at the time or something, and he suggested that I come to an event, and I came to the next event, which was like a week later, and started talking to people, and you started going out caching with them, and yeah, I picked up a lot from that.
Sure. Yeah. Sure.
Are there many? I guess it wouldn't be I wouldn't think as much a premium member, but to me, a lot of the stuff that I hear where damage does happen with geocaches is the ones that are flippant. They don't care. They they're out there doing stuff. They don't care if they hide it back the way it's supposed to. They don't necessarily close the containers like they should, and just continuously ruin things that way.
And there's people who cannot figure out a field puzzle type cache, a gadget cache, and decide that they're going to take it apart. They're going to get to it in some way, and they don't do it very well, and they don't put it back the way they found it. And those drive me batty.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing more frustrating than when you have a field puzzle and you solve it, and it's one of those, like one of those things, and then you can't put it back together.
Yeah.
That was the worst. I once had one. It was 110 degrees outside, and there's mosquitoes everywhere. And I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me with this. You know, like I finally got it open, and I couldn't get it back. It was horrible.
That's like when you go to find the bison tube, and you unscrew the base of it, and then you go and can't find the cap that was put.
Right.
Yeah, same thing. It's like, doggone it, it's 110 out. The birds are after mosquitoes are eating me. The poison ivy's up to my elbows.
Yep.
And I can't find the damn cake.
Yep. And I've done that, and I've just unintentionally destroyed one cache and unintentionally had the other cache float down the river. So
I've seen caches dropped into sewers where they go to put it back on the cap and bloop. It's like
oops.
Yeah. But anyhow, so there's a lot.
I'm not getting it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I was going to say the other flip side is where cache owners perhaps haven't been as thoughtful with the placement as they could have been. So the environment gets trashed with people trying to search.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Sure.
Either crap coordinates or perhaps they really shouldn't have hidden it there anyway.
Yeah, my favorite is the company or whatever has several $1,000s worth of landscaping, and they decide that's a great place to put the bison tube.
I hate seeing that when you see just a whole thing trampled around,
Yeah.
or you see bushes with holes in them because the cache there used to be a cache over there because you can see the bushes all have like big holes in them from people like looking in the bushes. It's so sad how bushes get destroyed by geocaching.
Yeah, you really got to think of what's happening. And then you wonder, and you hear people saying, well, the parks won't let us put geocaches in here.
Shocking.
I wonder why. Wow.
Yes, that's why I was thinking of putting a couple out when I was in the UK with my parents, but I decided against it because I just haven't got time to scope out an area, get land, find out who the landowner is, and check what the placement rules are. And okay, I'm lazy, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to look here while we're doing this. I know we got a couple minutes before we close up here, but I saw an article and I didn't get a chance to read it, but I did see the video, and it's starting to happen. We talked about before with Pokemon Go and AR and all the different things that are going on with this. Mm-hmm. Somebody has actually figured out, and I don't know the specifics on it. Like I said, if I find the article, I'll spread it out in the show notes. But they have figured out a way of using GPS positioning, and you can take your phone with this particular app and point it at where the GPS position is. They have words. All they got right now is text, like words painted in paint, the old paint program. Mm-hmm. Where when you look at it, you are actually looking at behind the words, and it said something like geocaching rocks or something like that. And then you could actually go around where the GPS point is, and the words would fix. So you could actually turn around and actually see the words that way. So AR is coming to geocaching.
Well, I saw that the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 10 has AR on it.
Yeah.
And so I haven't gotten one, so I haven't played with it at all. But like to see, just to create something with it, yeah. But you'd have to have an iPhone 8 or a 10.
Yeah, it's gonna come though. It's one of those things. I knew it would.
Sure.
And I knew eventually you're going to be able to get in some serious.
It'll be a puzzle cache. It'll be a puzzle cache.
Yeah.
So
I was very excited to see that today.
I can imagine the old guard who only ever use their GPS because they're going to be up howling at that.
Well, it's like a chirp. Only certain GPSs use a chirp.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a few of those around. I've not gone for them because I don't have a GPS with a chirp, and my phone's not enabled for it.
You got an iPhone, right? So I think it's the iPhone 6 and beyond. There is an app that you can use to actually pick up chirps. It will pick up an AMP Plus signal. So the Androids had it for a while, but Android phones that have AMP Plus chipsets in it.
Yep.
Let's see. I'll look right now. Hold on, I'm looking right now. Should I look up chirp? What am I look up?
iPhone chirp.
iPhone chirp.
Yeah. While Scott's looking that up, another bit of news that I saw yesterday that I put out on Facebook, they are predicting next year's phones will be down to centimeters in accuracy with GPS.
Yeah. I was reading into that. It's basically using the L5 and the E5. So L5 is another band that which has it's supposed to the military's been using it for a few years now, and they actually allowed it for the civilian use about 3 or 4 years ago. And then on the Galileo satellites, the E5 is a similar one. I'm questioning whether it actually gets you down to that. When I went in and read the Broadcom's page on it stuff, it did not specify anything about anything like that. So it's
I was taken in by fake news, is what you're saying?
Yeah, I don't know if it's fake news or over wishful thinking. I think it will help improve accuracy, especially when you have cloud cover and stuff, because that band is actually the signal level is actually a little bit stronger as well on that band, and signal strength, and so it will actually penetrate the clouds and stuff a little bit better. So it'll help some. I don't think we're really gonna see we're not going to be able to say, ding, I'm standing on top of it.
Yeah,
I don't think that's happening.
The funny part is all the people with GPS units went, wait a minute. What do you mean? So yeah, we'll see.
It's only as accurate as whatever the person who placed the cache used to get their coordinates.
And you always have that.
If they're 5 meters out, it's going to be 5 meters out.
Yes. So it's interesting, but there's a lot of technological stuff that's going on, and I thought that was pretty cool. Hey, Scott, any luck with your chirp?
Well, I'm working on it. I'm not seeing anything yet.
I'll send you the information. There's some things in the forums that are out there on it, but I'll send you the information because it's out there.
Yeah.
So I know someone that actually uses it. So.
Oh, really?
Cool.
Yeah, I'd just like to share it with the listeners, if you know.
Yeah, well, we'll share it with the listeners next week or so.
Yeah.
Get it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah, excellent.
If there's anything that's not tech speak for those of us that don't want to really get into the details, that'd be great.
You can turn it on and you can turn it off.
That's about my level.
All right, I think it's time for it's 4:30 in the morning in France, and I think it's time for Sarah to actually get a little sleep. And I want to thank Sarah for being the brave soldier and coming on tonight, because I don't think any of us would, Sarah. I'm just saying. So, but thank you very much for.
No problem. It means I can Skype for a couple of other weeks and not feel guilty.
There you go. I want to thank Scott and Chad for everything that they do. And we want to thank you fine folks for stopping on by each and every week with the Geocaching Podcast. All right, let's move on. Thank you for subscribing to the Geocaching Podcast. Please be sure to join us each and every Wednesday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time for another episode of the Geocaching Podcast, right here on the Geocaching Podcast website at www.geocachingpodcast.com/live. The video version of our show is available on YouTube, and the audio version is available on our home website, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and many of your favorite podcatchers. We love hearing from our viewers and listeners, so please visit us through our social media sites or contact us via our voicemail line at 630-31-VOICE. The Geocaching Podcast is a Headhardhat production and is produced by Andy Smith, Scott Burks, Chad Courtney, and Sarah T.S. The show is copyright 2017 by Andrew T. Smith. All rights reserved. And clear. All right, folks, thanks for stopping on by. We greatly do appreciate it. Thank you, Larry, for putting in the really good suggestion. And if you can find folks who have other suggestions that you want to have us talk about on the show, please let us know. We do appreciate it. All right, have a good one, folks. Have a safe one. And we will see you next week on the Geocaching Podcast. Bye-bye, folks.
Go Cub.